give me a rough time, Julian. I'm working here.
Who could that possibly be? I swear if it's one of those Jehovah's Witnesses again, I'm gonna...
Hi, girlfriend.
Gem?
Who else in the CC do you know is a gem besides me, Ernie?
Well, one other certainly comes to mind. But how'd you find my address?
It's all thanks to this lovely Canadian chick right here.
Hey, Ernie.
Chirp rocks? But she... God, is the CC universe logic just trippy.
Wait, there's a CC universe?
Anyways, we've got commentary material from some chum that we bumped into along the way.
Oh, how did I lose to a scout on a pony of all things? I'm fucking Joji, for God's sakes.
And we want to do a try-up on it with you, girlfriend.
Okay, but if we do a try-up, you two are gonna have to change, and I think I've got the solution.
A few minutes and a trip to Starbucks later.
So, how do I look?
You look fantastic.
Facelift! What about me, Spoonie?
You look like trash. Now roll in... Ow! What the fuck, man?
How dare you call me trash! I thought we were...
Guys, knock it off!
He slapped me first!
He was not respecting my appearance!
No one cares. Now roll intro.
Hey, this is my... channel! Wait, intro already played? Fuck!
Oh, calm your tits. Jem, introduce today's video for us, since somebody here is acting like a little bitch.
Hey!
Well, thank you, Chirpy. Anyways, today's video is on a user named Cinematic Venom who was triggered by an old Nostalgia Critic review on a movie called Jack. Even though he mostly reviews movies, he's been dipping into commentaries for the last few months, and this is actually a second commentary he's done. The first one being on another Channel Awesome reviewer, the Blockbuster Buster, which was, well, shit.
And you can only imagine our expectations for this video was the equivalent to Ryan Reynolds' performance in the Green Lantern movie.
So with that being said, let's begin.
I began doing movie reviews way back in 2009, and contrary to popular belief, it was not because of the Nostalgia Critic, aka Doug Walker. It was actually the Cinema Snob who was the first one that I saw and the one who inspired me to start my own movie reviewing series, though I would later become a fan of Doug's work as well.
Interesting history lesson, buddy. Really. In your next video, please tell us an interesting story about how the dust fell on your shelves, because, you know, that is more important than the Nostalgia Critic topic itself.
He's reviewed a lot of films that I like, and most of the time I can see his point and laugh at the movie's expense. I love The Lost World, Drop Dead Fred, I have a soft spot for Good Burger and Jingle All the Way, just to name a few. However, he often contradicts himself, ripping on certain films for one thing, like calling The Dark Knight Rises too long.
You might be a little bored by it at times because it is extremely long.
You like Lord of the Rings. They're not exactly known for being short. And you made a 3.5-hour mini-series based on your web show.
So you think Nostalgia Critic makes good points most of the time, then go on to say that he often contradicts himself.
Isn't that kind of an oxymoron?
Why, yes it is. Trash.
Why, you motherfucker!
Enough. Anyways, as for the part of Nostalgia Critic saying that people might not like The Dark Knight Rises due to how long it is followed by you saying he likes Lord of the Rings? Which Lord of the Rings movie, first off? There are only 3 of them after all. Second, are you seriously comparing a comic book action movie to a fantasy movie? It's totally not like the two are structured differently, and that the average viewer would expect certain elements in each one. As a reviewer yourself, you should know that this is film critiquing 101.
Adding on to what Chirp said in terms of you bringing up Nostalgia Critic's miniseries, aren't miniseries essentially longer movies just split into separate parts? Or is it possibly because you don't like Nostalgia Critic's miniseries?
He rips on Jingle All the Way for commercialism but likes A Christmas Story. He complains about The Shining miniseries being unable to wrap up a scene with a simple solution, despite the aforementioned Peter Jackson saga being guilty of that even more so. He also often misses vital plot points or just doesn't explain himself very well, like how Ben Affleck was actually bad in Daredevil. No reason, he just was. Because it's Ben Affleck. He just sucked.
Wait, since when was A Christmas Story known for commercialism? I mean, sure there was a lot of merchandising in the movie, but it was 1940s merchandising shown, and that was a big thing back then. Even then, I'm pretty sure the movie centers more around a family and the meaning of Christmas, whereas Jingle All the Way is about Arnold Schwarzenegger getting an action figure for his son for Christmas.
And as for the Shining miniseries being brought up...
No repetition!
Ow, don't have to slap me for that.
Anyways, for Nostalgia Critic supposedly always contradicting himself,
Repeat this one, bitch!
I will kill you in your sleep.
And he, as well as his brother, often tend to lean towards being so arrogant they refuse to acknowledge that maybe other people can like or dislike a movie. I mean, this is a guy who said,
There's no good movies or bad movies, there's just movies you like and don't like.
and then went on to say,
And most people I've seen who like the movie, it's very much in the, that's alright. Like, there were some problems, but it was alright.
The people that like
Nobody
it,
loves it.
I haven't found anybody that said like, it's amazing, it's phenomenal, there's no problems. Everybody has an issue with it.
You know, in the example showing Doug and Rob Walker, they were talking about general reactions to whatever review of theirs that you showed. Nowhere have either of them said that it was wrong to like something they trash talk or dislike something they like, and if they have, you didn't provide any proof.
Also, we're more than a minute and a half into this 16.5-minute video, and Venom here hasn't touched the video that he's covering, and it'll be another 10 seconds until he brings up the Jack review. Unless you've got an entertaining skit to lead into your video, the background info on your subject shouldn't drag out like you're doing here. This could have been summed up like, I like Nostalgia Critic's reviews, but I feel he has a tendency to contradict himself, and his review of Jack has various instances of this. See how easy that was?
he said Happy Madison fans shouldn't live, people only like Hocus Pocus as a guilty pleasure and they all know it sucks, and it just comes across as uncomfortable to watch sometimes with someone forcing an opinion on you so much. Usually, however, I can ignore all of that and just enjoy the comedy for what it is.
You do realize that the Happy Madison jab was a joke? Did that ever occur to you at any point? His point of the skit was that Happy Madison should at least try to do smart comedy instead of appealing to the lowest common denominator.
Oh, that's right. This is a Happy Madison audience, where something that they see come out of them every day is suddenly hilarious because it reminds them of something that was scandalous when they were 2 years old. Watch. Pooh!
I want to also bring up the fact that there's too many examples in this segment to the point where it's just cramped. Hell, you didn't even show clips from the 8 Crazy Nights and Hocus Pocus videos despite showing clips before. It comes off as unfocused and shows that you should just get onto the fucking video that you're covering.
And as for Doug forcing down his opinion down the viewers' throats, the Nostalgia Critic is an exaggerated version of Doug Walker. A character. A persona. Sure, you can dislike a character's portrayal, but you never acknowledge the Nostalgia Critic as a character. Why do I get the feeling that you see the Nostalgia Critic as a real-life person?
However, today I'm looking at his review of Francis Ford Coppola's Jack. Jack is one of my favourite films, and a lot of Doug's points are the universal criticism, most of which I can counter, but I can also see some negativity behind it, and I'll admit to a lot of its flaws when the time comes.
Holy shit snacks, I think we just found the root of the problem!
So, if that's the case, why not just do a review of Jack yourself? It would accomplish the same goal, and there's nothing wrong with reviewers bringing up criticisms of works and countering them. Hell, I've done that, and I review often.
Would have saved us so much trouble instead of wasting our fucking time!
Let's just dive right in.
It doesn't even sound real. Francis Ford Coppola, the director of The Godfather, directed a movie where Robin Williams is a 10-year-old in a man's body.
And Doug Walker, director of great films like Suburban Nights and To Boldly Flee, directed Dragon Board, an unfunny and direct rip-off of Jungle to Jungle just 1 year after reviewing Jungle to Jungle and calling it unfunny and unoriginal. Irony!
What the fuck does that have to do with the review? Are you saying that you hold Doug Walker to the same standards as a Hollywood director? And that's ignoring the fact that Dragon Board was meant to be a parody of Jungle to Jungle. If there's anything Doug Walker likes doing, it's parody. Have you not seen his skits?
It's also quite distracting hearing your background music playing during the Nostalgia Critic segments. I'm not against having background music in videos, but logic would dictate that you play background music during your own segments, and at the very least, it shouldn't be distracting and instead set the mood.
Never use a messy recipe, the cake will end up crazy.
Okay, now here's the major problem with the movie. Jack is not being played like a 10-year-old. He's being played like a kindergartner.
And that's the main issue the entire world has. And honestly, it's quite easily explained. I actually feel stupid that I have to explain it, especially to the likes of Doug Walker, who usually knows what he's talking about and is usually pretty good at analysing films. I mean, Jack may be 10 years old, but he's been coddled and protected by his parents for a decade. He's barely been outside, he's never been to school, he's been kept away from society, so therefore he obviously would be a lot less mature than the other kids. Also, how come no one bitches over the fact that Tom Hanks in Big acted like a 6-year-old and not the correct age?
No.
Yeah. Gross.
Oh no, that's different, right? Because it's not Jack. I mean, it's pretty obvious the whole movie shows that Jack is reclusive, that he's completely ignorant to everything around him. His parents are completely terrified of releasing him to the outside world, so they've pampered him like a child and just not allowed him to properly grow up.
You're clearly no child psychologist. I've seen homeschooled children act more independently than Jack does in the film. Sure, he's sheltered, but he's not feral. He is also shown to be, for the most part, a normal functioning human being despite the aging. A better point would be that Robin Williams is at least trying to be a child with an adult body, which isn't exactly an easy task if you've ever taken acting lessons. However, that would invalidate your point about Tom Hanks in Big, which was Tom Hanks being a child in an adult body.
How would you like to see your classroom? Yes? Just a little louder. A little louder, Jack.
Okay, maybe the kid with severe Tourette's syndrome would respond that way, but this is not the normal response for a 10-year-old.
Okay, you got a point there. That was kind of silly. But it was supposed to be. He has social anxiety. He's not used to interaction, which is exactly why he speaks quietly at first. The loud outburst was for comedic value, which I found funny, but your Harry Potter joke that follows was even funnier, so I'll let this one slide.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm totally confused right here.
I mean, you've got a good point there. Followed by saying he's got social anxiety and that Jack screaming yes was meant to be silly, and then letting it slide because Nostalgia Critic makes a funnier Harry Potter joke next. Make up your mind, man! I mean, at that point, just cut this interjection out since it adds virtually nothing to the point aside from unnecessary padding.
We see him break his desk, haha, bet you didn't see that one coming, huh?
Haha, it's only funny when Adam Sandler does it and Billy Madison, haha, didn't see that coming, haha.
First off, suggestive comedy is a thing. Second, when did Nostalgia Critic bring up Billy Madison?
Well, maybe he has it in the description of his vid. Nope! Not one bit of evidence!
As his mother looks over old pictures of him while blowing bubbles? Does she always do this when she's nostalgic, or is she just high as a kite?
Hey! Okay, I'll give you that one. That was kind of stupid. I'll get you next time, critic.
What?
Was
The
point in that! You waste time to just agree with him? I don't even know if that was a joke because your tone isn't any different from how you normally act.
Your acting sucks.
Take lessons next time.
Really hammering in the subtlety there with the violin, aren't you, Coppola? Let me guess, we're supposed to feel sad?
You'd say it was forced if they used a piano. What, would some heavy metal be more suitable for you?
Because it's totally not like the film is trying to force emotions rather than letting them feel naturally.
Haven't you heard of something called show, don't tell?
I'm not touching that thing. It's been contaminated now that he's touched it. Yeah, I ain't touching it. Oh, finally, cooties!
Cooties? Really? At age 10? You know, I think it's common knowledge that cooties are generally extracted after the age of 7. Everybody knows this.
Doug, were you ever picked on? I'm not necessarily condoning the use of cooties at 10 years old, but were you ever picked on? Because I was.
So was I.
And me.
And me.
And I can tell you firsthand that kids are nasty, kids are mean. I was picked on in my teen years for having bad dandruff. Kids find the most ridiculous things and use them to bully somebody for. It's just how kids work. It's not necessarily cooties, it's not like they're saying it to a random person. This is Jack, a grown man-child. They're just looking for excuses to bully him for, which is exactly what kids do, no matter the age.
You know, you've got a good point. Except for the fact that Doug's problem was that they were using cooties, which Doug said was ridiculous even by the standards of 10-year-olds. And aren't cooties usually from girls? Because last time I checked, Jack is a boy, not a girl.
I'll give you cooties if you want me to. What's his problem?
I don't know.
It beats having crabs.
As usual, Fran Drescher's voice sounds like a series of barn animals having asthma while smoking a box of menthols.
This coming from a guy who hired Bargo to talk like this.
A damn fool! You can't change your destiny! You can only choose to beat it!
On purpose. Like, that's not his real voice, so you deliberately hired him to do that voice. Speaking of which, how the fuck can you make fun of Whitey's voice in 8 Crazy Nights?
What do you see? Accents can be funny and used for comedic effect. It's such an incredible discovery. The woman in the movie isn't trying to be funny.
Don't forget that line delivery also helps as well.
Louis has dirty magazines under his bed. What are dirty magazines?
I got to be really? She's smiling at the fact that he wants dirty magazines?
Yeah, how dare she smile at the fact that her son is finally acting like a normal 10-year-old boy. Fucking bitch would want him to remain a reclusive little hermit who's alien to everything around him. Whore.
Funny, because if I was caught with a dirty magazine when I was 10, I guarantee you that I'd get an ass whooping. And I doubt I'm alone on that.
I would have gotten the talk, with a belt nearby.
Well, you see, when a man and a woman love each other...
No!
What?
Never use a messy recipe. The trick will end up crazy.
Check this out. Excuse me. Think our moms look like that?
I did not just hear that.
Hey, sometimes, alright, we just wonder what our mum looks like in the shower.
Stop! Stop! We've heard enough.
That just makes it sound like you have mommy issues.
Never use a messy recipe. The trick will end up crazy.
And of course, boys looking at naked women is totally cool, but then when actual girls come around, ew, gross cuties, ew!
Because that's how boys are! You just explained to Coppola how boys act, but here you don't seem to understand boys yourself. Boys look at tits and feel hormonal at this age, but don't want to admit they like girls yet, so they make fun of them all the time to hide it. It's what boys do. Okay, so Doug Walker was never bullied, and Doug Walker was never a boy. Interesting.
I think I also found another reason why you decided to make this. This is all out of spite.
At least when Doug says it, it's meant to be a joke, but when you say it, your tone makes it sound serious.
He brings his homeschool teacher up to the treehouse because, yeah, wouldn't that make—
Bill Cosby!
Guys, calm down! Just make sure he doesn't offer you a—
Why, hello there! Would any of you like some of my pudding pops?
Did you eat this yet? Everybody has to.
Yep. It's good!
Oh, come on, he's had worse.
So did his victims. What?
Never use a messy recipe. The trick will end up crazy.
It's also a little confusing that in this world they throw a dance for kids when apparently at this age they're still tossing water balloons at girls.
My son is 6 and his school throw discos. For kids younger than him too.
You do realize that not every school out there has dances for kids, right? I mean, my school didn't let anybody go to dances until 6th grade, and even then, they only let the 6th graders go to the last dance of the school year in May.
It just feels like you're nitpicking at this point if we're talking about little kids having dances.
We're gonna go back to the way things were before you started school.
No.
Hey, remember all the fun we had?
No. No! No!
Dude, you're being offered not to go to school. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, forget all those friends you made and bonded with in that pointless scene after being locked away for 10 years. Take advantage of none of that.
It's called character development.
I mean, your average kid, even with lots of friends in school, would be excited not to have to go to school. You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to get some KFC.
And I'm not gonna lie, the next 20 minutes has no purpose whatsoever. He accidentally gets in a fight with Willem Dafoe, gets sent to jail, Drescher bails him out, and he stays away from public school. The hell was the point of all that? Yeah, let's try this again. Let's try, I think you should stay away from public school, and now he stays away from public school. All the bar, Drescher, Green Goblin, it's not needed!
Are you kidding me? Doug, you are a filmmaker, okay? You made, in my opinion, an incredibly well-written and creative movie to boldly flee. And you missed a huge fucking character transformation. Like, those 20 minutes were a vital part of the story, and you completely missed the point of them. You even fucking admit it and show the damn clips. Jack wants to go to school to see his friends, his mum refuses, he then runs out, goes to a bar, gets into a fist fight, and then becomes afraid and doesn't want to go to school to see his friends. Can you seriously not see that huge fucking character transformation? It's a vital part of the story. Can you seriously not see the 180 that Jack's character just made? The fact that he wanted to go to school, but then he went out to the real world, realised how dangerous and scary it is, so he doesn't want to go to school. The entire character changes, the entire story changes. Were you fucking drunk when you wrote this? I want to give you the benefit of the doubt and hope you were.
Don't you think you've had enough?
I'll tell you I've had enough!
Excuse me, but...
Hey Ernie, sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to take this point from you.
Richard, what the fuck are you doing here? This is my channel?
Yeah, and I can appear out of fucking nowhere because teleportation for plot convenience. Now get out, scrub.
What the fuck, Richard?
Anyways, isn't school part of the real world as well? I mean, how going to a bar full of adults influences decision to stay in grade school full of children? Is it funny that Cinematic Venom and Nostalgia Critic missed a plot hole as big as this one?
Do I know you?
Nope. And now back to whatever the fuck you guys are doing, because teleportation and you guys are probably gonna fuck.
I'm sorry, what?
Anyway, bye!
Hey, Jack's mother! Jack's mother! Can Jack come out and play?
We really missed the way he called us names and threw water balloons at us. Can we have more of that?
That's what girls do! Dude, I grew up with a female best friend at school, and I can tell you firsthand, they're just as fucking nonsensical and bipolar as boys are. This is perfectly normal behavior from 10-year-old girls.
Did that little girl eventually become your wife? Are you actually Richard Watterson? Is your son named Gumball? Is your wife Nicole? Thank you.
Is this really appropriate music to play? I mean, it's not like he's coming out or feeling better. He's still crying like mad in his room. This really doesn't seem to fit.
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, the happy music was to show that he made friends, you know, it really made a difference in their lives, and they were just happy to hang out with him, and he finally became one of them, you know, he finally overcame his issues, and he finally made a difference. But I suppose it's a good point.
Alright guys, I'm back, so... Hey! You removed the background music! Why wasn't this done earlier?
Also, Nostalgia Critic's point was that the music would better fit Jack coming out of his house in a triumphant fashion instead of moping around in his sorrow.
So I may not know what I want to be when I grow up. And right now I really don't care. I want to be like the giant. My best friend. Jack.
You know, it's at cliched, horribly written scenes like this that, I'm sorry, I really cannot believe Francis Ford Coppola, the Francis Ford Coppola, directed this!
Why was it cliche and poorly written? I mean, I can kind of let the cliche thing slide because it was the mid-90s and everybody was doing that kind of thing. But it's only bad when Jack does it. But my problem is, you don't explain why it's poorly written. You just go off on your boner fest for, oh, Francis Ford Coppola, I love you so much. Oh, Francis Ford.
For a love boner? Wouldn't that mean you'd be gushing about whatever it is you're talking about?
What if it's a hate boner?
Well, that's what we call hate fucking.
Also with the, it's only bad when Jack does it. Do you have any examples of Nostalgia Critic praising another movie for doing something that Jack does? I mean, the fucking video is littered with this shit.
Oh no, that's different, right? Because it's not Jack. Haha, it's only funny when Adam Sandler does it and Billy Madison. Haha, didn't see that coming. Haha. Only funny in other slapsticks. Only funny in other slapsticks. Haha.
But it's only bad when Jack does it.
Only when other slapstick comedies do it.
Want to point out Nostalgia Critic supposedly being a hypocrite? Go ahead. But if you do, don't think that we can just take your word for it at face value.
Never use a method recipe, cause tricks will end up crazy.
You know, I'm convinced if you just take all the big dramatic Robin Williams speeches from all his movies and just put them all together, they basically just say the same thing.
You mean not the Nostalgia Critics?
First, we take Molossia and then the neighbors down the street. And then their neighbors, and then their neighbors, and then their neighbors. Until we build a military force so gigantic that nobody will be able to stop us. After all this is over, we will not only have a ton of money, but our names will also be placed in the Book of Destiny.
I'm no good at making speeches, and quite frankly, that's all I got.
I'm 99% sure that those speeches are meant to be parody. Figurative, not literal. It feels like you're throwing shit at the wall.
You mean like he has throughout the entire video?
Yep.
So he rides off with his friends, and that's it. Yeah, we don't know what happens after that. We don't know if he goes on or dies, or if he makes anything of his life, or it just sort of stops.
Would you have preferred if it had 17 endings, like Return of the King?
I'm pretty sure he'd want to see a definite ending to see how the rest of his life played out.
I literally feel nothing coming out of this. If it focused on him getting older, or even dying, or...
What? It did! It did! There's a scene which you didn't even show where he says,
"What do I want to be when I grow up? Alive."
We get the picture, George.
Completely missed that, didn't you?
Wait, I thought the movie was about Jack bonding with the other girls despite being a kid with an adult body. Did we watch the same movie?
The whole message of his speech was about his impending doom, which is why the final scene in my mind is so heartbreaking. We know he hasn't got long left, we just don't need to see it.
Yeah, in your own mind. Because last time I checked, this was the Nostalgia Critics review, not yours.
For Coppola, shame on you!
Did he mention Francis Ford Coppola made this?
I don't know. Did you pointlessly mention the Nostalgia Critics' previous works enough times?
This review just seems to constantly reiterate the director, which seemed to be your main issue, and although I can see people's problems with the comedy, I still love the film. It has its sweet moments, and your review just got a lot of details wrong.
And you're wrong because I said so. Seriously, what did this commentary do exactly?
You got some good jokes in this review, and I'll continue to enjoy your content, just not a fan of this one. And that's it for this response. If you guys like this, hit like, share, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
No. So, for my final thoughts, holy crap were these points weak. I mean, most of them consist of, why are you complaining about that Nostalgia Critic when you did that yourself, without giving significance to it. Honestly, if you plan to do more of these, it'd be in your best interest to probably not do reviews of movies that you like, especially when this is the second time in a row where you failed at defending said movies, and if you do, try to look at the video in an unbiased way. That, and don't think that a person's supposed shortcomings makes them wrong, like you did so much in this video, especially when said shortcomings are irrelevant.
This commentary is so full of spite that it makes you lose focus, and half the time you're just flashing a hate boner at the Nostalgia Critic. But here's the thing, each reviewer who steps onto this site has a different way of critiquing or interpreting films. Just because they choose to do so, that does not mean the film is horrible. So please, leave your bad attitude at the door next time, since you make Kim Kardashian look like a saint.
Now, there's nothing wrong with making a video response to a flawed video with poor points, but this video wasn't exactly a good counter-argument to the Nostalgia Critics review on Jack. You came up looking like a butthurt fanboy trying to defend your favorite movie from those bully haters. Now granted, you didn't get too upset in your video and you did offer a few decent points, but other than that, this was just a waste of time, and I highly doubt that this response of yours would make any bit of difference to his review. One more thing. Remember to tell the difference between a person and a persona next time, okay? Thanks.
So, since we're done, you guys want to do something?
Wanna go party?
Fuck yeah, I do!
But I don't drink.
Too bad, we're leaving anyways.
Welp, I'm alone now. In Ernie's storm. I wonder what he has here.
Hi, Jim, ya fucking faggot!
Richard?
Yeah, it's yours truly. What are you gonna do about it? Anyway, I brought a special person that's been wanting to meet ya silly trash avatar.
Wait a minute. Trash avatar? And oh no. You don't mean who I think you mean.
Yeah, your avatar is a little fecal matter, and it's who you think it is! Anyway, enjoy your playmate, Jim, you damn bastard.
You son of a bitch!
Yeah, Jim, this is payback for trying to have your shitty minions and you beat me in Smash and attempt to cover it up. Get wrecked, scrub.
Later that night... Hey, Jem. Were you entertained while we were out?
I think he's asleep from the looks of it.
And that was just the two of us.
Don't even think about it.
But I wanted to draw on his face.
Well, I've got a Sharpie.
Later. He'll never know.
Now that we're finished with that, why don't you show me your Sharpie?
Oh my.
Oh my gosh. Baby, let me. I did it again, so I'm gonna let the. Oh my. Baby, let me love you down. There's so many ways to.